Pete Holtzapfel in Juno Beach, and I'm sitting here with a whole room of people, as one could imagine. Welcome to the April version of the Employee Engagement Playbook. Kicking us off today will be Tony Rodriguez, who's going to share with us a little bit, some information on the Employee Engagement Survey. Tony?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I have to assume that by now most of you have some information about the feedback or the overall results of power generation. The good news is that we did move the needle from 58% on the last engagement to 65%. The other good news is that there were a number of functional areas that, although they didn't move the needle, they sustained the level they had. So those are the two good news. I guess the not such a good news that there was only one functional area that really helped move the needle, and that was Florida, that actually moved 14 percentage points. So most of what you see, the movement from 58 to 63% overall engagement was driven by overall Florida, both bargaining unit and non-bargaining unit, like 14% movement there. Now I have to also say that technical service moved 3 percentage points, a higher level engagement than before. The remaining functional areas, they're all basically stay, and as you can see here in this graph, very, very flat. Flat. It's 63 to 63, 52 to 52. You see there on the technical service did improve from 62 to 65. That was the 3 percentage point I was referring to. Then wing operations 65 to 65. Production assurance right 73 to 73. I mean, it cannot be any flatter. So what that tells us, and I think on the last meeting we had, and let's go to that page. Yeah, last meeting we got. I did spoke to that we had already indications that this was going to be like the outcome. That really the next step here is not about an effort across the whole division, a big effort. If you look at the score by the director, what's happening here?
Excuse me, somebody out there does not have their phone on mute. If you could please put on mute. Thank you.
I think you turn your attention to the page where I have the score by direct reports, and then on the right-hand side of that, you see all the different, the numbers there, 1 through 20 are the drivers. And what you see here, there's only one area in terms of improvement that will be advantaged by having an effort across the whole division. And that's, you look at number 10 there, every one of the functional area needs to improve on the work processes. And that's the number 10. And that's the effort that fortunately we got going on with significant amount of intensity, what we call it tech infusion, and it's all about making the process more effective, more efficient. And obviously that's something that we will keep moving forward. I think the only tweak there will be one that can we accelerate the touching of the team members out there in the field, meaning prioritize the effort, really having in mind the number of teammates that we're going to be able to touch by achieving the automating and process improvement of those given processes. The other thing here that I could call you to attention, and you look at number 1, that's also, I go back a minute to the score by direct report. That one says, number 1, that we need to sustain the organizational reputation. Do we need another effort for that? In my view, is not. We don't need that effort. I think that's driven by the fact that the way that we benchmark against competitors in the industry and all the areas on how we do is really driven by the great performance that this whole organization delivers, and that's where that reputation comes from. And we continue to, what we need to do is to sustain and continue to improve on those areas. I think the reputation will stay there with us. So those are the two areas I think is really across the whole division. So what this is said really is what we need now is for the different functional areas to take on a customized approach and look at the specific on that area. I think I made the point last time that we spoke that I already had seen some of the data, and we have, you know, a huge, I guess, the outcome is significantly different, different locations and within the different functional areas. So, you know, for instance, in power plants, we have power plants that with engagement levels of 19%, and we have power plants with engagement level maybe 93 or 86%, depending if it was bargaining unit or non-bargaining unit. So an indication, again, reinforcing what we have been seeing for a while, that it's a lot more work here that we need to do on the location level than trying to hit the whole population with the same kind of effort at once. And so that's what we're going to do this time. We will continue to work on the work processes. That's a huge effort across the division. And each functional area then will develop an employee engagement action plan to address their specific improvement area. And those action plans are expected to be completed by May. So that will be deployed to the whole organization. I want to thank everyone. I think, you know, the fact that, yes, first of all, the overall division did improve. Secondly, Florida made a great, achieved great results. And secondly, the rest of the functional area, at least we didn't lose any ground. So I think we'll learn from that. And we'll move on. And I'm sure we'll do better next time. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tony. And let's go on to winning tips. Bringing that to us today is Kirk Toth. Kirk?
Yes, good afternoon. Making tough decisions. Each day we make a multitude of decisions. How you go about making them, especially the tough or unpopular ones, is a true test of leadership. Stephen Covey once wrote about leaders who were preoccupied with looking good in hopes of being liked, instead of doing good. It is the leader who is consistently basing his or her decisions on doing good that is a true leader. And take the time throughout this month to reflect on one or two tough decisions that you have made and take personal stock in the reasons you came to the decisions that you did.
Okay, thank you, Kirk. And as far as Players Huddle, the company union on the FPL side recently held a workshop at the Indian River State College, and Brett McDonald is going to talk to us about that.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Bob Porter will be giving us an update on the workshop we held last week over at Indian River College.
Hello, everybody. Last Tuesday, another PGD IBEW workshop was held at Indian River State College. Trust issues were discussed and updated from the previous meeting. Over 70 people were in attendance. Highlights included a mutual gain training course, updates on the PGD Apprentice Pilot Program upcoming, and we reviewed the Bargaining Unit Employee Engagement Survey. And the group is looking forward to the next meeting in the fall. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Robert and Brent. And coming next to us is the people focus. There was a couple of playbook messages this month. The first one you've already received a week ago, and that's was entitled "The Right People." And just hitting the highlights on that. In today's business environment, a lot of care and focus must be placed on obtaining and developing the right people in the organization. All organizations need to do that to sustain themselves. And you know, our people not only expect that of us, but we expect that of ourselves. And there's a good quote there that comes from Jim Collins, who was the author of Good to Great. It's a nice leadership publication. In determining the right people, the Good to Great companies place greater weight on character attributes than on specific educational background practical skills, specialized knowledge, or work experience. Not that those things weren't important too, but he's saying that there's better, greater focus on the character attributes. So you can look at that. And there's another playbook message, the second one for the month coming up, April 23rd. It's going to be called Assess Your Integrity. And all of us leaders, good leaders, will periodically do an assessment of their own integrity attributes. And most of you know that our integrity is developed over time. It's based upon many of the life lessons we go through and learn. But it is something that we can strengthen and actually develop over time. One facet of integrity is courage, and that courage which is necessary to stand up against the things that may be wrong or dishonest or perhaps dangerous out there. And strengthening integrity requires that you take a humble look at these things, recognize and take ownership of any past failures, and determine with a focus how are you going to act going forward. And just another focus, high integrity is essential to fulfilling our shared value of doing the right thing, and it's essential to building trust at all levels. Last year, in fact, I was looking, it was just approximately a year ago this month that the shared values were released in its newer format. Scott Stone issued a couple of excellent playbook messages that formally expounded upon those values. They're out there, and but the subject of integrity keeps coming up, and it's something we can never get away from. As far as assessing integrity, I can give you an example. Even thinking back to a year ago, before we went through the Safest Way training and the Safety Culture Initiative, I may have looked at some safety issues in the plant in my normal walk downs and thinking that, no, that's no big deal, or something that I perhaps rationalized to myself that it wasn't anything we needed to address immediately. And thinking about it and looking at some of those things today, I can think back and say, I think doing it again today, I would think differently on that and make a different judgment. And that's how integrity can be advanced. So good leaders do that. I encourage everybody to do the same. Thank you. Let's go to diversity and inclusion. And it's all about respect. Bringing that to us today is Kelly Fagan.
Thanks, Pete. This month's Diversity Inclusion Corner is all about respect. All About Respect is a great course that's offered by Nectar Energy University, among some other courses that are available. So with PIP planning behind us and success ahead of us, it's time to think about what we can do to make a difference in our organizations through our own personal development plans in 2012. Developing relationships built on trust and mutual respect is the cornerstone of successful business. From individual contributors to senior leadership, we all play a significant role in creating an environment in which we are all valued for our contributions. So the Diversity and Inclusion website is a great place to start looking for training opportunities for you and your team on topics related to our shared values. These resources are designed to help you transform the shared values from a card on your badge holder to action in the field. They provide leaders and employees with practical how-to knowledge on dealing with tough situations we may face while building strong, diverse groups. I listed a couple of current course offerings. They're, again, available on the internet. Some are course-based up in Juneau, and some of them are available electronic-based, which is nice for all of us at remote locations. And you'll see a nice picture there to the right of Brian Mangan and Tony Barrows at our Mutual Gains workshop that was up at Indian River State College. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you, Kelly. And we want to highlight a diversity and inclusion event that's happening this month regarding celebrating Autism Awareness Month. And here to tell us about that is Brett Carpenter.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. The Disability Awareness Employee Network Group worked with the Ernie Els for Autism Foundation to host an event to celebrate April, which is Autism Awareness Month. For anyone that's in the area, I'd like to invite you to come to the Square Grouper, where across the Intercoastal, the Jupiter Lighthouse will be lit up blue and shine a light on autism to promote autism awareness and acceptance of those affected by autism. There will be some proceeds from that event which will benefit the Ernie L. Center for Excellence, which will be a cutting-edge school which will serve 300 students in this area in Jupiter and provide best on the planet service for those individuals on the autism spectrum from childhood through adulthood. So if you're here, it's Monday, April 16th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And if you look on the right-hand side, that is what the Jupiter Lighthouse looks up, lit blue. The Jupiter Lighthouse was kind enough to do that April 2nd, which was Autism Awareness Day. But thank you, Pete.
Such a great cause. Thank you, Brett. Hopefully many of you can make it. And let's go to the people focus now. Talk about our excellent recruiting team out there. Deb Frank is out there.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah.
We do have an excellent recruiting team, and they're working aggressively to fill our vacancies, of which we have many. The team is made up of Libby Woodmore, Greg Antosh, Ingrid Nicholas, Suzanne Colton, and Annette McMullen. They're diligently working on filling 215 current openings in the organization. And this includes vacancies across WIND, PGD, NextEra sites, and the technical services team, both exempt and bargaining unit. They play a very important role with screening and executing the hiring process for the highly skilled employees we need for our continued fast-paced growth into the future. And you can assist in this process by contacting these individuals with any skilled worker referrals. So let's take a minute, and if you see one of the people on this team, give them a thanks because they do an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. And let's go to some of the improvements that are happening with work processes. And Rick Ricardo is going to take us through that.
Thank you, Pete. We're Kaizening our way to better work processes. Pictured here is the document management team on the left and the risk management on the right. And Kaizen means change for better, which is in Japanese, and it is a lean quality approach for continuous improvement. The document management and risk management teams are working hard at eliminating those non-value added steps from our processes. These teams are cross-functional in nature, and they have folks from operations and the central organization. Many thanks for their contributions.
Hey, thank you, Rick. Some good stuff coming out there. And highlighting our technology developments is Donville Smith.
All right, in the spirit of employee engagement, we're trying to minimize the workload on our WIN technicians. Currently, to do remote clearance verification, they have to carry a web-enabled camera up tower while another person stays down tower to do clearance verifications. And the automation team is working on a solution we have currently in the prototype phase to use the existing handheld devices that they carry along with them to do that same verification. This will at least alleviate the number of devices they have to carry with them when doing that type of clearance verification. So look for more to come in the future. Like I said, we're in a prototype phase right now, and it should be exciting once we have it in play and deployed.
Hey, thank you, Donville. Good stuff coming out there. Career is always a fun column. We always like to highlight individuals out there making a contribution, perhaps not always in the limelight, but certainly their contribution is felt. And this one is going to be told to us by Kelly Fagan.
Thank you, Pete, for letting me present this one. This one is near and dear to me because I have the opportunity to work alongside Joe. But this month's career section is highlighting one of our maintenance leaders over here at the Lauderdale plant, Joe Boyd. Joe continues his successful and safe career with FPL as he comes to us on his 42nd anniversary in April. Starting in 1970 as a helper at Port Everglades, Joe was enticed by the $119 a week that we offered him to come on board, and we beat out the phone company, who only offered him $110. After coming up through the ranks as a mechanic, Joe trained and mentored hundreds of successful employees in his career as a journeyman, foreman, and now a maintenance leader at Lauderdale. The picture to the right is Joe back in the day as a foreman at the gas turbines. Thank you, Joe, for all that you bring to the PGD team. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you, Kelly. Great stuff. And let's go to recognition and rewards. And bringing this to us today is Lisa Blank.
Yes, this month we would like to recognize the 7 teams that participated in the 2012 PGD Quality Cup. They were recognized for their significant contributions. And then also recognize the 2 teams that were selected to represent PGD at the Broadhead Cup. That'll be on April 23rd in Juno Beach. And it was the Pete's team as well as the West County Combustion Turbine Cooling team. And you can see them pictured here, and we just want to wish them a great congratulations and good luck on your next competition.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And before we go to closing comments by Tony, I just want to invite anybody out there to ask any questions or share with us any comments you have. We put together some thought joggers that you may want to consider as you ask questions or forward some comments to us. Jim Keno was with us last time and challenged us all to think about some of these topics and engage in this discussion. So at this point, are there any questions out there or comments that you might want to share?
It's Ken Lutz. I have just a comment and a question. Tying the picking the right people for the job and then the recruiting. Marcus Hook was very successful in hiring a INC PT. He was a Volvo mechanic, and I think sometimes we don't think of like an auto mechanic as being a good operator in the plant and very technically inclined, but our cars are very complicated. And I'd say he is one of the best INC guys we have here at Marcus Hook. And Greg helped us recruit him. And then a question for maybe Tony's leadership team on the employee engagement. It looks like the, for TH&S, we have a challenge there to improve on some of the senior leadership. I don't know the details of that, and I'm sure that the details will come down to us. But I guess, with senior management does change roughly every 2 years. Is there any data that shows that, changing out senior management, cuts down on some of the engagement and the questioning coming from the PTs up into the senior management team? Do we have any data to support any of that, or?
Ken, on my the readings I have, all the verbatims, and I haven't gotten through all of them. I think I made a strategic mistake. In fact, I read all the thermal hydro, and because of course, if you look at thermal hydro, is the lowest score we had in the division, and I was thought, well, that's the place to start. But then I look at my section, a lot of that repeat itself when I come. I have a section that is just under my name. I haven't seen any indication there in any of the verbatims that that's an issue.
Okay. And then the other question I have about the work process. I know, across our fleet, our work management is one of our near and dear processes that we all are using across the fleet for putting jobs into work management through IOW and startup and shutdown defects and things like that. And then we move these jobs and we plan our outages and outage projects through our 5-year plan and then move that up to the budget. And, with moving money around to support organizational changes and budgeting through the year, I think there is some, pushback from the employees of, can we do it better? And I know through the Kaizen events and working with the tech infusion team, we're trying to lean out, work management and make it better. But I still think there is, some opportunity there to help with the planning of the 5-year plan and how we all do it together across the fleet with the fleet support. So I would ask that we do some focus on the work management process and the outage planning and 5-year plan. Is there anything you can do there to help the plants?
Ken, I think you're right on target, and I think that's recognized by the team that is working on it, and there's a significant amount. That's one that I can substantiate with a lot of verbatims that do speak to that issue across the division, and that's recognized. There's an opportunity that we have, and I think that's an area that we can make a lot of progress here on the next cycle by closing those gaps.
All right, thanks, Tony.
Yeah, one of the big efforts going on right now with Paul Plotkin taking the lead of the Tech Infusion team is really taking a look at all those things, like Tony said, that touch people the most, And work management, we've had quite a lot of discussion about interaction with work management and SAP, all those quick wins that we can get out there that'll really make everybody's job easier in the plant. So something we've been spending a lot of time talking about, Ken, so it's a real good point.
Appreciate your feedback, Ken. Good questions. Anybody else?
Pete, I have a question. It's Mark Lamasny up the Cape.
Hey, Mark, go ahead.
Between cycles, we use the pulse surveys a lot. Looking at the final results now, is there good alignment between what the pulse surveys were telling us and what the UIT survey told us? And can we use that information to kind of better interpret the results of the pulse surveys or make them more effective?
So overall, there was significant alignment, Mark, and the only issue with the pulse survey is the numbers sometimes. Of course, when you do the full survey, you get a lot more, you obviously got much higher participation, but overall the pulse alignment was right on top of. In fact, it was indicating that we were going to be coming in around 63, and we came in at 63 overall engagement.
That's good. That means that will be an effective tool to continue using going forward.
Yeah, I think it's a very good tool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Before we go to closing comments by Tony, I just want to point out that we did include an additional link that's on the PGD portal. You can see in the lower left-hand corner that page on the portal is the player strategy. And here are the links for the current playbook, and we added the link in the middle. I know you can't see that real well, but it's called Current Playbook Video. And if you're in Juno Beach, this presentation is currently being videotaped, and if you would like to access that to deploy it to some of the teams back at your individual locations, that's where you would pick up that video link. Give us about a week to get this video processed and posted in that format, and it'll be there, and give us a call if you have any difficulty in accessing it.
Pete, are those slides also there?
Yes.
Playbook slides,
yes,
and the video will all be in that location?
Yes, they all will.
And everything you saw today you'll be able to find on that page.
Okay. Tony, closing comments?
I think that comes to mind probably 2 or 3 playbook sections ago. I really asked us, all of us, as leaders, to kind of do a bit of soul searching, similar to your state and integrity, but maybe more holistic. And are we growing as leaders? Are we becoming a better leader every day? And that's a question that we need to be asking ourselves, and not only of ourselves, but are we expecting higher level of leadership from those that are on leadership position in the organization that we have accountability to? And I will setting the expectation clear and doing the coaching to get those leaders there, and being demanding about that, and holding ourselves accountable and holding the rest of the leadership of the organization accountable. If we can do that effectively, I'll tell you, we'll move that needle a lot more than 5 percentage points. Because it comes down to that, you can see it, it's obvious. You can see it within groups, that it's all about who is leading and how that person is leading. And that's the reality. And each one of us has to take accountability for that.
Great point. Tony, thank you. And I want to thank everybody out there for your attendance today and for your contribution to this playbook, and for your deployment out there in the field. And we hope you can take this with you throughout the month. And we'll see you back here next month. By the way, quickly, this meeting is normally held the second Tuesday of every month. from 2:30 to 3:30. We do have a scheduled change for the month of May. It will be held I think it's the third Monday, and this is due to some scheduling conflicts, but it'll be held on May 14th at the normal time, 2:30 to 3:30. So that will be an exception only. I will get out that schedule change notice to all of your schedules, and be aware of that. So we'll see you next month on May 14th. Have a nice afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much.